I know I wrote a book, right? It's called Buy a Game and it's free. Click the link down there, you got it.
DreAllDay.com.
We're going to be concise. We're going to get right into talking about releasing the emergency brake in life, which is how you're going to get from point A to point B as quickly as possible without anything getting in your own way, without other people or yourself getting in your own way. Shout out to the YouTube viewers and everybody who's watching this on replay right here. What's up, Mike? Listen, this is the number one thing about releasing the emergency brake. Most people go through life with their emergency brakes on. They have no idea that the brake is on. The brake is slowing them down from getting to where they want to go, doing what they want to do, being who they want to be, and they're not even aware that the emergency brake's on. So you watching this video, you are now aware of the emergency brake idea, the concept of the emergency brake. And when the emergency brake gets released, what you're going to find is that you start moving through life, physically moving through life, mentally moving through life, emotionally, spiritually, every other way. You're going to be moving through life a lot faster, and you don't even realize that all you did was drop the brake. You didn't do anything extra, you just dropped the brake. And a lot of people go through life thinking that they need extra. I need more information, I need more help, I need more resources, I need more money, I need more time. It's not more that a lot of people need, it's actually less. And if you drop that brake that's slowing you down, then you'll be able to get things done without the brake being in the way. And all you did was less. You didn't do more, you actually did less. Yes, it is very rainy here. What's up, Lev? Keena, how you feeling? Sadiq, what's up? So this is the first thing that happens when you release the emergency brake in life. And I'm going to get through how to do it and how that works, all going through these tips. Here's the number one tip. Number one benefit for when you release the emergency brake, you get out of your own way. Getting out of your own way is kind of like I was talking about a little bit a minute ago in the scope that I deleted and started over because we had some connection issues with this. Sometimes you give people advice like, yo, you could be more confident. What if you were just super confident, you didn't care what anybody else thought? And people say, you know what, that's a great idea. You feel good about it, you energized, you got all these ideas popping in your mind, and then the what ifs start coming in. What if? The negative what ifs is one of the worst killers of people's ambition, dreams, hopes, and success in life. Now, you can use what if the positive way, but a lot of people most people I think that I've come across, they use what if in a negative way. And what I do when I work with people as a coach and consultant is getting them out of the way of using what if in a negative sense. Such as if I say, hey, if you were super confident, I wrote a book called The Super You, it's about confidence. If you were just super confident, you didn't worry about what anybody else had to say, you had complete belief in every single thing that you did, imagine what could happen in your life. People say, you know what, that's a great idea, but what if I'm so confident my friends don't like me? What if I'm too confident my boss fires me? What if I'm too confident people think I'm cocky and arrogant and nobody wants to hang with me anymore? That's the way that most people think. What if, and then they put something negative right after it. That's an emergency brake because it's not anything physically stopping you. It's your own idea of what's going to go wrong that didn't even go wrong that's keeping you from getting to where you want to be in life. It's something that you already decided that you want to do, but your what if negative thinking is an emergency brake that has your car going 5 miles per hour. If you just release the brake, which means get rid of all that negative what if stuff, you're going to start going 30 miles per hour and you don't even have your foot on the gas. If you drive a car, you know when you get in the car and you put it in drive and the emergency brake's on, the car won't move. But when you release the emergency brake, you don't even press the gas pedal, but the car starts moving. Y'all understand that? The car will move. You will move in life to wherever you want to go. Quickly, you'll start to build up steam and momentum just by taking the emergency brake off, just by releasing the emergency brake and not even pressing the gas pedal. You don't even have to press the gas pedal forward. You will naturally move forward. So you got to get rid of the negative what if. So the first thing that happens is you get out of your own way with negativity, limiting beliefs, that those emergency brakes, all the things that you think might go wrong, that you have no physical proof of them going wrong. It's just an idea that came into your mind. That's a habitual thought that you have to get rid of, and that's an emergency brake. Second thing that happens when you release the emergency brake is other people get out of your way. If you ever heard the phrase or the concept that when a person knows where he's going or where she's going, everybody gets out of your way. I'll tell y'all a story. One day, like a month ago, I was driving down I-95. I had somewhere to be, and I had left a little bit behind schedule. I was driving on I-95, and while I'm driving down the highway, I think I was doing a periscope while I was driving. All the cars, I was in the fast lane, the express lane, all the cars start moving out of my way. And I don't know, and some people might think, well, maybe that's just a coincidence. Maybe you're going a little bit too deep here. But as I was driving, I had an idea in my head, like, yo, I absolutely had to be there faster than this GPS says I'm going to get there. And as I'm driving, every lane I got into, cars start switching over to the other lanes and getting out of my way. And what I'm saying is, not to say that this is some magic trick, but listen, what you have to understand is that's a figurative story for life. It's a metaphor for life. When you know exactly where you're going, and you absolutely have to be there, exactly. It's like splitting the Red Sea. people will get out of your way. When you know where you're going, why you're going there, and exactly what you're doing, nobody's going to stop you. If you got an idea of doing something, how many of you ever had an idea of doing something and you're thinking about it, you got all the information, then you go poll the audience. You go ask your friend, yo, what you think about this? You ask your coworker, yo, have you ever done this before? You ask one of your teammates, yo, what do you think about trying this workout plan? And then they give you all this negativity. Well, I don't know. I know somebody who tried it, it didn't really work out. I don't think that's a good idea. Well, what if this happens? They start feeding you all this negative what if stuff. And then all of a sudden, before you've done anything, before you got any actual concrete real life experience and information, what happens? You are dead on the idea and you didn't even do anything. You never tried it. You never experimented. You have no facts to base it on, but all of a sudden you're negative about the idea when just 5 minutes ago or 2 days ago or 24 hours ago, it was a great idea. Why? Because people got in your way because of you posing them the option to slow you down. So you don't give other people the option of slowing you down. When you ask somebody else, what do you think of this concept? If they've never done it before, what can they tell you? All they can give you is negativity because they don't know anything. So why would you go to a person or you go to somebody who's quit at something before? You can't go to a basketball player who quit in 10th grade when he got cut and ask him, what do you think of your chances of making college as a scholarship player? What can they tell you? They don't know anything. They're a quitter. You can't ask a quitter how to be a success. You can't ask a person who's a follower how to be a leader. You got to ask the person who's done it what they think. And if you ask a person who's been successful at something, if you can be successful, 99% of the time they're going to tell you absolutely you can. Why? Because they're proof that it can be done. If you ask somebody who quit if you can be successful, what are they going to tell you? They're going to tell you about quitting because that's what they did. That's the only thing they know is how to quit. And the problem is not the other people. Let me be clear on this. The problem is not what other people say, is the fact that you made the choice of going to somebody who can't empower you and asking them a question to disempower you. When you ask a quitter about succeeding and persevering and being persistent, what are they going to tell you? Nothing. They can't tell you anything because they have no experience in doing it. Do all y'all understand that? So you have to get people out of your way by ceasing to ask the wrong people the wrong questions. That's the second thing that happens when you release the emergency brake. And here's the third thing that happens when you release the emergency brake. You finally in life get in touch with your true potential. You finally unleash your true potential. You finally find out and show everybody else what you are truly capable of. Because again, I don't care what kind of car you drive. Listen, if you're driving a Volkswagen and you got the emergency brake on, even if you press the gas as hard as possible, the fastest that car is going to go is maybe 40, 50 miles per hour. But you take the emergency brake off, all of a sudden the car is going 130. That's what happens when you release the emergency brake in life. I don't care, even if if you got a Lamborghini and you got the emergency brake on and you press the gas as hard as possible, maybe you'll go 70 or 80. You take the emergency brake off, now the car is going 200. That's exactly what happens when you release the emergency brake, because each one of us is different. Maybe your potential is an 8, where somebody else's potential is a 6, and somebody else's potential is an 11. But when you release the emergency brake, the only way any of you will ever get to that 8 or the 6 or the 11 is for you to release the brake. The brake has you at about 30 or 40% of your true capacity. Do all y'all understand that? So the 3 things that happen when you release the emergency brake in life. Number 1, you get out of your own way. You stop stopping yourself with negative what ifs, limiting beliefs, and all the reasons why something might go wrong when you haven't even done it. Here's the second thing that happens when you release the emergency brake. You get other people out of your way. You stop asking the wrong people the wrong questions. You stop empowering people who have no power. You stop empowering them to give you negativity. People who have no power cannot empower you. You have to have power to empower another person. So don't ask a quitter about persisting. Don't ask a failure about succeeding. Don't ask a follower about leading because they have no information. You're empowering them to give you some negative information, and it's not their fault, it's your fault because you asked the wrong person the wrong question. And the third thing that happens when you release the emergency brake is you finally find out what you actually can do. You finally find out what you're truly capable of when you release the emergency brake and say, you know what? I'm all in on this. I'm going all out on this. I don't care if I fail. I don't care if I come up short. Actually, you can't fail because you only fail when you quit. You say, I don't care if I come up short. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to find another way to get to where I want to go to. That's what happens when you release the emergency brake. You find out what your true potential is in life. And the fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, as long as you release the emergency brake, because most people have no idea what their true potential is because they're going through their entire lives with the emergency brake on, not because they choose to, but because they never heard anything like this. What I'm sharing with you right now, they're never aware of it. They die being completely unaware of the fact that they went through their entire life with the emergency brake on and wonder why they went through their whole life in the slow lane. It's not because they couldn't. It's not because they didn't have the potential. It's because they didn't have the information. And if they did have the information, they didn't become aware of the fact that they had the emergency brake on and never got to where they wanted to go to. Everybody catch everything I said right there. I will take a question right now. If anybody got a question, go ahead and post your question. My name is Dre Baldwin. For those who don't know me, I come from the city of Philadelphia. I'm an empowerment expert, professional speaker, professional athlete, author of 5 books, publisher of 4,000 YouTube videos, 4,000 blog posts. I'm putting out 10 books in 2016. That is an absolute guarantee. Probably the first 1, 2, or 3 of them will be out in the month of January. You'll know about it. Don't worry. Oh yeah, I'm doing a podcast too now. I got a podcast. I'll talk about that maybe tomorrow. Somebody reminds me. Who was my mentor? The one that inspired me to make a pivotal change in life. There was no one person. Really, I was introduced to personal development maybe about between 10 and 15 years ago. I started reading. I said, this is a great idea. This all makes sense to me just based on what I already knew in my life. I compared what I knew and the things that I had seen to what I was reading in that book. The first personal development book I ever read was called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I also read the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. I wouldn't consider that personal development. But Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I just thought of it. I said, I don't know anything about entrepreneurship, but this just makes sense. Compared to what I've seen in life and what this guy's saying, it just made sense. So then I went and found more books. I found more books. I listened to more audios. I found more people. And I just started listening to those things because it just made sense to me. And it's the same thing I say to people here in these videos. When you listen to what I say, don't take everything I say for face value. I could be completely 100% false, right? I could be wrong. I could be telling you a lie about everything. So what I want you to do is take the information I'm giving you, compare it to what you already know based on your experience in life, and ask yourself a question. Does this make sense? And if the answer is yes, it makes sense, then you use it. If the answer is no, it doesn't make sense, then you go do what works for you. But if the things that you've been seeing and people you've been listening to haven't gotten you where you want to go, then that means you need to listen to somebody else. Why are most people average? I don't know. I don't really think about that. Who cares? That's a bad question to ask. The better question is, what am I going to do to make sure that I get to where I want to go? Because most people, the fact of the matter is they have no idea that they're going nowhere. How do you move faster without the emergency brake? I did a video about that yesterday. If you missed it, wait till it comes out on my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/DreUPT or go to workonyourga.me. That's my YouTube channel. And I'm about to put out a website that has a link to all my social profiles because I got too many of them. I'm tired of trying to remember them and recite them to y'all. But I'm going to have a website. I'm going to just say that website. You go to that site, it'll have a link to everything. A very simple page, one-page site. It'll have a link to everything so you can see it. Oh, thank you very much, Holsey70. I appreciate you watching. Has reading improved my life? Of course. Are you kidding me? Yes. The things that I say come from what I read. The things that I write come from what I read, and the things that I listen to. Like the podcast nowadays we got podcasts, but audio books. I don't really listen to audio books. I'm listening to Midas Touch audio book right now. I try to keep one audio book playing at all times. But yes, absolutely. Reading books, that's the number one thing. I would say reading books is the number one thing. The fact is, most people don't read books. What's my motivation for everything? I'm my motivation. How can you find my podcast? I'll tell you tomorrow, because we only did, I did an intro episode with my guy Scott Jones from Athlete on Fire. If you go to podcast and look up Athlete on Fire, you'll see like a little introduction one we did. It's not really the full one. Can I make a list of books I read? Yeah, you can find that at DreAllDay.com. Under the About section, there's a link that says books that I read, and it's right there. So has already been done. What's up, Russia? Shout out to everybody in Russia. Can't take any more questions from anybody. Questions going once, going twice. Do I read off my phone or paper? I read off my phone digitally. So I read all my books on my iPhone. I got an iPad, same thing. And Kindle. I use the Kindle app. I don't own the Kindle, but I got the Kindle app. So that's how I read all my books. I don't read hard copy books. I did read one. What was it? It was called How to Be a Great Boss. It was actually a great book. I don't even remember where I got it from. I think my girlfriend gave it to me. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, amazing book, changed my perspective. Exactly, yeah, it changed my perspective also. That book has sold like 100 million copies, or at least moved 100 million, maybe not sold. I don't even know if I bought the copy that I had, but you don't know what I mean. You could probably get it for free these days. But listen, if you got an opportunity to buy a book, buy it. A book is the best investment you can make. If you could buy a phone, if you could buy a pair of sneakers, if you could buy a bag of chips and a candy bar, buy a book. It's a much better investment. It'll make you more money in the long run than any of that stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here. If you want to know more about me, go to my website, DreAllDay.com. If you want to contact me directly, I do coaching, I do consulting, basketball players, entrepreneurs, athletes, whatever it is. You just want to work on your mental game and life, send me an email. Email is Dre@DreAllDay. All right, Levinka. All right, Leah. All right, Halsey. I'll see y'all later. The email is Dre@DreAllDay.com. Or just look me up. Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. You can't miss me. I'm everywhere. Work on your game. Dre all day. Thanks for watching this video. I'm sure you were entertained. Make sure to stay connected with me on all your favorite social networks. Twitter and Periscope @DreAllDay. Instagram Dre Baldwin. Facebook /Work on Your Game. You can bookmark my YouTube channel by subscribing, of course. And the website is Work on Your Game. That's .me. WorkOnYourGA.me. And of course, my homepage is my website, DreAllDay.com, so you can know exactly what I'm doing, exactly when I'm doing it, and how you might be able to be involved.